Our topic for the team project is sports and recreation, in which we chose to focus on women in sports. We started our process with conducting internet searches and then moved on to conducting interviews with relevant actors such as young athletes and professional athletes. Our aim was to raise awareness for the topic. We hope you enjoy.
Women in sports. There's a large amount of social stigma at play when we talk about women in sports. Some say that the female body isn't meant for it. Others treat professional female athletes' career as a hobby that they do to pass their time before they truly start living their lives, which usually entails getting married or having children. Their bodies are subjected to commentary in the media, their role as a wife or mother is brought under scrutiny, and their achievements are said to be only won because they are competing adjacent other women and not against real players, or simply put, male players. Due to this kind of perception of female athletes, more and more young females are discouraged from following their passions in sports.
The ladies, they supposed to be silent, polite, gentle, but my men supposed to be strong.
I just wonder if her dad did say to her when she was 12, 13, 14 maybe, listen, you are never going to be, a looker. You are never going to be somebody like a Sharapova.
Do you agree with him or believe him?
I would like to kick the man in his nuts.
If I was a lady player, I'd go down every night on my knees and thank God that a Roger Federer and a Rafa Nadal were born.
Is this what female athletes should do? Be quiet, gentle, remain silent while being called not much of a looker? Or be grateful for male players who compete in a completely different category?
This is where we began the second part of our journey, conducting interviews. We have a total of 3 interviews with 5 questions each. We interviewed 2 young female athletes with some years of experience in their sport, as well as a professional female golfer to get a holistic view.
Hi, I'm Ridhima Dilavri and I'm a professional golfer. I play on the Indian Professional Tour in India as well as the European Tour all across Europe.
Hi, my name is Amara. I'm a national level fencer and I've been playing this sport for about 6 years. I'm a strong advocate for getting women in sports the same opportunities that any other genders get, and not just women but also different socio-economic groups.
Hello, my name is Ridhima Pahuja. I study in DPS International. I'm currently in 11th grade. Basketball has been a passion of mine since the past 6 years, and I'm the vice captain of my basketball team.
What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of women in sports and their capabilities in succeeding?
I think women in sports are extraordinary in every way and they have the highest capability of succeeding in whatever sphere that they choose.
I think women are as capable as any other gender in succeeding in sports. I don't think it's a matter of capabilities, but I do think it's a matter of equal opportunity and the opportunities that are given to our gender.
When I think of this, I think the first word that comes to my mind is overshadowed, and to elaborate that, I would like to say that they don't gain as much, like women don't have as much significance in sports right now, even if they do have the talent often.
Have you ever felt or witnessed a lack of opportunities in female sports due to their gender?
I've definitely seen and experienced it myself as well. I think men's sports is encouraged so much more than women's sports and is not seen as a career option for us very often. So it takes a lot to break that stereotype and make people think and believe that it's an actual profession that we can have.
All the time. I'm a national level fencer and I see it all around me. Whenever we go for competitions, all genders are supposedly being given the same opportunities, but there's still some disparities in how people around India treat women and men in sports.
Yes, I have. As I said, I've been playing basketball since the past 6 years, and in my own school, practice is very important to succeed in any sport. And the boys basketball team gets time from 6 a.m. to 7 in the morning to 7 a.m. and we only get from 7 to 7:30, which is half the time they get, and it's very difficult to keep up and to keep our game up. Adding on to that, they always have the attention of a coach, and we often don't. Even for competitions and going for all of these competitions, the under 19 category has so much competition in the boys category, but when it comes to the girls, there isn't that much scope for us to play anymore. Maybe because of players giving up, or maybe because tournaments and leagues just don't expect women to keep playing till our age now.
How prominent do you feel that the pay gap is in the field of women in sports? Describe it on a scale of 1 to 10 and elaborate a little bit.
On a scale of 1 to 10, like 10 probably being the highest the discrimination is, I would say like definitely an 8. The only reason I say 8 and not 10 is because there are a couple of, say, like tennis majors and other bigger events that are trying to have equal prize money for both men and women. But at the very ground level, there's a huge difference in how much men are paid. Like, especially in golf, like from my experience, like men are paid like 3 or 4 times more than we are for the same event.
I'd say about a 6. Like, obviously there's a lot of inequality in the pay gap between men and women, but there's also business side of it, and obviously like these sports channels, they only get revenue when people watch the sports that women are also playing. So I think it's more of a problem about viewership, and we should be trying to increase that instead of just saying, oh, an inequality exists and women should get the same pay as men.
I would say it's at about a 7.5, because there is a very evident gap in what a woman receives as to what a man does for like the same for playing the same sport. And while there is a very valid reason for that, because viewers for males playing the same sport is much more, just comparing like the NBA and WNBA, but that doesn't mean we should stop there. There are solutions to this.
How do you feel about the representation that women get in media and whether it is appropriate in certain scenarios?
I think how women are seen and questioned in the media is inappropriate at most times. Like a lot of times they're not questioned about their performance, but about things like their outfits or like their family life and their kids and things like that. So I think there needs to be a similarity in the questions that men and women are asked, and it should be more based around their performance.
I think, first of all, media does not focus on women in sports, because obviously, especially in a country like India, the society does not really focus on women in sports, and it's not seen as a very normal thing to do for a woman to play sports. And in some scenarios, there's interviewers asking women in sports questions like, oh, how you're about the age where people get married, like how are you going to balance that? But when you see the same interviewer taking an interview with a guy, they never ask such questions, and I think that's where the problem lies, because I mean, guys should also be getting the same questions that women do, and it should be more focused towards their performance instead of their life or their family goals.
I will not say anything about this for me, because I've never really felt that way, but for my idols, whoever I see, for so many women and so many like playing after they've won sports and after I've seen their interviews, so many times they're not given like the appreciation for how well they performed in their sport, but they're asked other questions as to how well of a homemaker they are, or how their role as a mother is, and how they're balancing all of this. And these expectations are never set for men after they're winning sports, but the level of appreciation a woman should get only because she excelled at her sport isn't often given, and it's always compared to why maybe she was brought down by something else, or inappropriate questions are asked in situations where she should ideally only be applauded.
As a young athlete as yourself, how do you feel that you and your fellow athletes can help in bridging that gap in the sports industry?
First of all, we need equal opportunity, and this is not just between the genders but also between different socio-economic groups, especially in a country like India where most of the population is below the poverty line. We need to provide all of these groups with the same opportunity by getting them the right equipment, by getting them the right kind of training, and focusing it solely on opportunity instead of focusing it solely on their capability as a sports person instead of what their socio-economic background is. And I think the Indian government has also launched initiatives to do that. One of them is Khelo India, and they have centers around India where they are promoting sports. But obviously to bridge this gap, which has been persistent for so many years, is going to take a lot of time, and individuals should also do their part instead of just relying on the government.
Important thing we can do is to spread awareness and bring publicity to women in sports, because we do excel just as well as men do, and I think it's about time for everyone to realize that. So just a very good example that this would work is the amount of attention that the FIFA World Cup for women got last year, and so many more viewers were there. And I think if we do that for sports, even for in to our level and in our local community, I think this gap between sports for men and women can be.
As a professional athlete who has played on many levels such as national and international, what are ways that you have seen or thought could be done to bridge the gap in the sports industry?
I think the number one thing is investment into women's sports, like monetary investment. I think the reason why men's sport, there's so much more of a spotlight on men's sport is because you can just turn on the television and see men's cricket or tennis or football just on every sports channel, and they barely show women's sports anywhere, which is why companies don't want to invest as much because there's less visibility. So I think it's just a vicious cycle of those things not happening. So just monetary and resource investment into women's sport will probably help change that quite a bit.
Okay, thank you so much.
We hope that shed some light on the topic for you and helped you better understand the issues women face in sports from multiple standpoints. However, this wasn't the only primary research conducted by our group. We conducted a questionnaire with the general audience in our school, and these were the following responses.
Here we see the public's opinions, and as you can see, here the reasoning that women's sports isn't as valid, as 66.2% of the 71 responses would strongly disagree. People are ready and more than enthusiastic to watch sports and don't see a huge difference between women's sports and men's sports. This shows that our society is capable of change, as the stigma of women not being meant for the sports industry breaks on its own when they see the female athletes' capabilities and the dedication that is at par with their male counterparts.
Lastly, our form also consisted of open-ended questions that allowed people to give specific answers. Question 1. What other factors aside from sexism do you think contribute to the lower viewership of female athletes? To sum up the responses we received, societal and cultural pressure, internalized misogyny, undermined potential as athletes, family constraints and expectations, weak advertisement, lack of awareness, coverage, private sponsorships, and investment. Next up, our class held a Global Perspectives Conclave at school, in which we cosplayed as female athletes that broke the cycle and helped shape the female sports industry. Each of us performed monologues as 5 sportswomen: Billie Jean King, Mary Kom, Toni Stone, Geeta Fogart, and Wilma Rudolph. They all belong to varying racial backgrounds and beliefs that helped us gather diverse cultural perspectives on our issue. This was also a step closer to reaching our initial aim, which was to spread awareness and reconstruct societal stigma about female athlete realities.
Furthermore, while collecting data from our questionnaire, we saw that even from the outside looking in, people can tell that women don't receive the appreciation and respect that they deserve for their accomplishments. There is always something else to talk about: their family role, their weight, their outfit, anything else except the gold medal that hangs from their neck. So, instead of casting our well-deserving female athletes into the shadows, let's shine the spotlight on them, shall we?
4-time Olympic champion Simone Biles says there is no room for racism after a video went viral of a black girl not being given a medal at an Irish gymnastics event ceremony.
It's Simone Biles. I wanted to let you know that I saw how you were treated at your Gym Star event recently. I was completely shocked and wanted to let you know that you deserve a medal just like all of the other girls.
People just find it so absurd that you could be like a woman, be a black woman, or be a hijab-wearing woman and be into sports.
There's a kind of uncomfortableness, like discussing race as well. So if I would ever...
I don't think it's fair, but I hope it can change one day.